I raised my brother's 3 kids for 8 years after he abandoned them. When he got rich, he took them back and banned me from seeing them. 8 years of sacrifice, birthday parties, school plays, and sleepless nights. Then he showed up with money and erased me from their lives. My name is Rachel Chen. I'm 38 years old. For 8 years, I raised my brother's 3 children. Lily, Mason, and Emma. I took them in when they were 6, 4, and 2 years old. Their mother had just died, and my brother David couldn't handle it. He spiraled into depression and addiction, abandoned them, disappeared for months at a time. So I became their mother, their provider, their safe place. I worked 2 jobs to afford raising them, gave up my career goals, my savings, my own chance at having a family. I was at every soccer game, every parent-teacher conference, every birthday party. They called me Mama Rachel. For 8 years I was their world. Then David got sober, got a high-paying tech job, got wealthy. And he came back. I thought we'd co-parent, work together, share the kids I'd raised. Instead, he hired expensive lawyers, filed for full custody, and won. He moved them to California, changed their schools, put them in therapy to undo my influence. And then he banned me from seeing them. You were temporary help, he said. They need to bond with their real parent now. You need to step back. The kids I raised for 8 years were gone. And David treated those 8 years like they meant nothing. This is the story of what happens when you sacrifice everything for family, only to have them erase you when it's convenient. My brother David is 4 years younger than me. Growing up, we were close. I was the protective older sister. He was the creative, sensitive younger brother. I was studious and responsible. He was artistic and free-spirited. Our parents were traditional Chinese immigrants. They ran a small restaurant, worked constantly, didn't have much time for us. I took care of David a lot, made sure he did his homework, packed his lunches, went to his school events when our parents couldn't. I went to college, got a degree in social work, started working with at-risk youth in Portland. David went to art school in Seattle, dropped out after 2 years, moved back home, struggled to find direction. He dated a lot of different women, nothing serious, until he met Jennifer. Jennifer was sweet, kind, quiet, a kindergarten teacher. They fell in love fast, got married within a year. I was happy for him. Jennifer was good for David, grounded him, made him more responsible. They had their first baby when David was 20, a daughter, Lily. 2 years later, a son, Mason. 2 years after that, another daughter, Emma. David seemed happy. He'd found work as a graphic designer, not making much money but getting by. Jennifer still taught. They had a small house, 3 beautiful kids. Then tragedy struck. Jennifer was driving home from work. It was raining. A truck ran a red light. She died instantly. David fell apart completely. I flew to Seattle the day after it happened, found him in his house, catatonic. The kids were with Jennifer's parents, who were also devastated. David, you need to pull yourself together. Those kids need you. He just stared at the wall, didn't respond. Jennifer's funeral was heartbreaking. Lily was 6 years old, crying for her mommy. Mason was 4, too young to fully understand. Emma was only 2, asking, "Where's Mama?" over and over. David could barely stand during the service, could barely look at his own children. After the funeral, Jennifer's parents tried to help, but they were elderly, in their 70s, not equipped to handle 3 young children full-time. David was supposed to take the kids back after a week. But he didn't. He started drinking, heavily, stopped going to work, stopped answering his phone. Jennifer's parents called me, frantic. "Rachel, we can't do this. We're too old. We love these children, but we physically cannot care for 3 kids this young. And David he's gone. He's not here mentally. What do we do?" I flew back to Seattle, saw the situation firsthand. David was a mess. His house was a disaster. He was drunk at 2 in the afternoon, unshaven, incoherent. The kids were terrified of him. Lily kept asking me, "Is Daddy sick?" I made a decision that day. I'll take them. I'll bring them to Portland, take care of them until David gets better. Jennifer's parents were relieved, grateful, sad but grateful. David barely acknowledged what was happening. I told him, "I'm taking the kids. You need to get help. Get sober. Then we'll figure this out." He nodded. Didn't argue. Didn't fight. I packed up the kids' clothes, toys, favorite stuffed animals. Loaded them into my car. Lily cried the whole drive to Portland. "I want my mommy. I want my house." "I know, sweetheart. I know. But you're going to stay with Auntie Rachel for a while. It's going to be okay." I had a 2-bedroom apartment in Portland. Not big enough for 3 kids. But I made it work. Lily and Emma shared 1 bedroom. Mason got a sleeping bag on the floor until I could afford bunk beds. I took a leave of absence from my job. Stayed home those first few months helping them adjust. Enrolled Lily in 1st grade at the local elementary school. Found a preschool for Mason. Kept Emma home with me. It was hard. Really hard. I wasn't a parent. Didn't know what I was doing. Had to learn everything on the fly. Sleep schedules. Meal planning. Bedtime routines. Tantrums. Nightmares. Lily had panic attacks at night. Would wake up screaming for her mother. Mason became withdrawn. Wouldn't talk. Wouldn't play. Emma was too young to understand, but she felt the absence. Would cry for mama, and I'd hold her, knowing I wasn't who she wanted. I called David every week those first few months. Sometimes he answered. Usually drunk. Sometimes he didn't answer at all. "David, your kids need you. You need to get help." "I can't, Rachel. I can't do this. I can't look at them without seeing Jennifer. You have to try. For them." "I can't." After 6 months, I went back to work. Had to. Money was running out. I found a job as a school counselor. Better hours than my previous job. More flexibility. But 1 income wasn't enough for 4 people. So I got a 2nd job. Waiting tables on weekends. Worked 60 hours a week. Came home exhausted. But the kids needed food, clothes, school supplies. Jennifer's parents helped financially when they could. Sent money for birthdays and Christmas. But they were on a fixed income. Couldn't do much. David sent nothing. Contributed nothing. He'd moved out of his house. Stopped paying the mortgage. It went into foreclosure. He was couch surfing. Living with friends. Sometimes homeless. Deep into alcohol and eventually drugs. I tried to stay in touch. But he became unreachable. Would disappear for months. The kids stopped asking about him after the 1st year. "Where's Daddy?" became less frequent. Then stopped altogether. They adjusted to their new life. Slowly. Painfully. But they adjusted. Lily thrived in school. Made friends. Joined soccer. I went to every game. Every practice. Became a team parent. Organized snacks. Mason started talking again. Came out of his shell. Loved building things. Legos, blocks, anything he could create with. Emma grew up knowing me as her primary caregiver. Started calling me Mama Rachel when she was 3. Lily and Mason followed her lead. Mama Rachel. It broke my heart and filled it at the same time. I wasn't trying to replace Jennifer. I talked about her often. Kept photos of her in the apartment. Made sure they knew their mother loved them. But I was also their reality. Their daily life. The person who made breakfast and signed permission slips and kissed scraped knees. Years passed in a blur of school pickups and packed lunches. Lily turned 8. We celebrated at Chuck E. Cheese with her school friends. She wanted a unicorn cake. I stayed up until midnight baking it from scratch because I couldn't afford the fancy bakery version. She loved it. Best birthday ever, Mama Rachel. Mason turned 6. Started kindergarten. He was nervous that first day. Held my hand so tight it hurt. What if the other kids don't like me? They'll love you. You're smart and kind and funny. And I'll be right here when school ends. I was. Every single day. Waiting at pickup. His face would light up when he saw me. Emma turned 4. Started asking hard questions. Why don't I have a mommy like other kids? You do have a mommy. She's in heaven. Her name was Jennifer. She loved you so much. But you're my mommy too, right? My heart broke. I'm your Mama Rachel. And I love you just as much. The years continued, each one bringing new challenges and small victories. Lily turned 10. Made the select soccer team. The fees were expensive. $200 a month plus travel costs. I picked up extra weekend shifts to afford it. She scored the winning goal in the championship game. ran off the field and hugged me. Did you see that, Mama Rachel? Did you see? I saw, baby. I'm so proud of you. I was at every game, every practice. The other parents assumed I was her mom. I never corrected them. Mason turned 8. His teacher called me in for a conference. Mason is incredibly talented in math and science. He should be in the gifted program. I enrolled him, helped him with the harder homework, bought him science kits and building sets from thrift stores. He built a volcano for the science fair. We worked on it together for weeks. It won second place. He was thrilled. Thanks for helping me, Mama Rachel. I couldn't have done it without you. You did all the hard work, buddy. I just assisted. Emma turned 6. Lost her first tooth. Put it under her pillow for the tooth fairy. I snuck in after she fell asleep. Left $2 and a note. Your smile is beautiful. Love, the tooth fairy. She showed everyone at school. Look what the tooth fairy gave me. My apartment became a home. Their artwork covered the refrigerator. Their photos lined the walls. Their laughter filled the rooms. I gave up dating entirely. Went on a few dates those first couple years, but it never worked out. I have 3 kids, I'd explain on the first date. Oh, how old is your partner? I'm not married. They're my niece and nephews. I'm raising them. Most guys didn't call back. The responsibility scared them off. One guy made it to a 3rd date, met the kids, seemed okay with the situation. Then he asked, so when do you think your brother will take them back? I don't know. Maybe never. You're going to raise someone else's kids forever? They're not someone else's kids. They're my kids. He didn't understand. We stopped seeing each other. After that, I stopped trying. The kids needed me. Dating could wait. My friends from college slowly drifted away. They were advancing in careers, traveling, going to happy hours. I was packing school lunches and attending PTA meetings. Want to go to Cabo for Sarah's bachelorette party? A friend asked. I can't. I have the kids. Can't someone else watch them for a weekend? There is no one else. What about your brother? He's not in the picture. That sucks. Well, we'll miss you. The invitations stopped coming after a while. I didn't fit into their lives anymore, and they didn't fit into mine. My career stalled completely. I was a school counselor, good at my job, could have advanced to administration. But that required extra hours, evening meetings, professional development weekends. I couldn't do it. I had 3 kids who needed me home. My boss was understanding but disappointed. You have a lot of potential, Rachel. I hope someday you can pursue it. Someday, I agreed. But I knew that day wasn't coming anytime soon. My savings evaporated faster than I expected. Kids are expensive, really expensive. Clothes they outgrew every few months, school supplies, field trips, sports fees, birthday parties to attend, gifts to buy. Lily needed braces, $3,000. I set up a payment plan, added it to the monthly budget somehow. Mason wanted to join robotics club. The kit alone was $200. I worked extra shifts, got it for him. Emma needed glasses. Insurance didn't cover the cute frames she wanted. I bought them anyway. She deserved to feel confident. Every financial decision was a calculation. Can we afford this? What can I cut back on? Which bill can wait? I stopped buying new clothes for myself. Wore the same work outfits for years. Stopped getting my hair cut at salons. Learned to trim it myself. Stopped eating out. Ever. Packed my lunch every day. Cooked dinner at home every night. My car was 12 years old. Made strange noises. But it ran. So I kept it. My apartment was small. Cramped. We needed more space. But rent was affordable. We stayed. Every sacrifice was worth it. Because the kids thrived. Lily became confident. Strong. A leader at school. Mason became curious. Passionate about learning. Always reading. Always building. Emma became joyful, silly, the sunshine of our little family. They were healing from their early trauma, becoming whole. And that was because of stability, because of consistency, because someone showed up for them every single day. Me. But I didn't regret any of it. Not the financial strain, not the career sacrifice, not the lost friendships. I loved them. They were my family, my purpose, my everything. David surfaced occasionally, every year or two. He'd call, sober for a few weeks, making promises. I'm getting better, Rachel. I'm going to get the kids back soon. But then he'd disappear again, and I'd hear nothing for another year. The kids learned not to expect anything from him, learned not to hope. When Lily was 13, she had a school event, father-daughter dance. She asked me, "Can you come? I know you're not my dad, but you're the one who's here." I went, wore a suit, danced with her. We were the only aunt-niece pair there. Everyone else was fathers and daughters. Lily didn't care. "Thanks for being here, Mama Rachel. You always are." I cried that night after she went to bed. This wasn't the life I'd planned, but it was the life I had, and I wouldn't trade it. Then last year everything changed. David called me. His voice was different, clear, sober. "Rachel, I'm clean. Really clean. I've been sober for 18 months. I'm in a program. I have a sponsor. I'm working. I'm doing really well." "That's great, David. I'm proud of you. I want to see the kids." My heart sank. I knew this day would come eventually, but I wasn't ready. "Okay, we can arrange something. Maybe start with video calls. They haven't seen you in almost 3 years." "I want more than video calls, Rachel. I want them back." "What do you mean back?" "I mean I want custody. I'm their father. I'm sober now. I have a good job. I can take care of them." "David, you've been gone for 8 years. And I regret that every day. But I'm here now. And I want my kids. They don't even know you. Lily is 14. Mason is 12. Emma is 10. They've lived with me their entire conscious lives. That's why I need to get them back. Before it's too late. Before they forget they have a father." "They haven't forgotten. I've always told them about you. But you can't just swoop in after 8 years and take them." "Why not? I'm their legal parent. And I'm the person who's raised them, who's been there for every single day of the last 8 years. I appreciate everything you've done, Rachel. I really do. But they're my kids, not yours." The conversation ended badly. I was shaking, angry, scared. 2 weeks later, I got served with legal papers. David was filing for full custody. He'd moved to San Francisco, got a job at a major tech company, making 6 figures, had a nice apartment. And he had expensive lawyers. I couldn't afford a lawyer, not a good one. I represented myself at the custody hearing. David's lawyer painted me as a temporary caregiver, well-meaning but not the legal parent. They had photos of David at AA meetings, letters from his sponsor, pay stubs from his tech job showing 6-figure income. They had a child psychologist testify about the importance of biological bonds. They presented a beautiful apartment in San Francisco, 3 bedrooms, 1 for each kid, in a top school district. "Mr. Chen has transformed his life," his lawyer argued. "He has confronted his demons, achieved sobriety, built financial stability. He is ready to be the father these children deserve." Then they showed photos of my small apartment, 2 bedrooms, cramped, in a working-class neighborhood. "Miss Chen has done admirably with limited resources, but she cannot provide what these children need. Not financially, not emotionally, not legally." Felt like a personal attack, like everything I'd done meant nothing. My turn came. I didn't have professional photos or expert witnesses. I had 8 years of memories, report cards I'd signed, medical records with my name, birthday cards the kids made me. "Your Honor, I've been there for everything. First days of school, last days of school, sick days, snow days, every single day for 8 years." I showed photos. Lily's first soccer game, Mason's science fair, Emma's kindergarten graduation. I'm not their biological mother. I know that. But I've been their mother in every way that matters. They call me Mama Rachel. They've lived with me since they were babies. I presented letters from their teachers, from their coaches, from their friends' parents. Rachel is the most dedicated parent I've ever met. She's always there for these kids. They're thriving because of her care. I even had Jennifer's parents submit a letter. If Jennifer were alive, she would want Rachel to continue raising her children. Rachel has honored Jennifer's memory and given these kids the stability they desperately needed. But David's lawyer countered every point. "Miss Chen has no legal standing. She is not the guardian. Never formally adopted. She's been babysitting essentially. Very dedicated babysitting, but still temporary care. These children have a father. A biological father who loves them. Who has fought his way back to health for them. Who has every legal right to parent them. Blood matters. Biology matters. These are Mr. Chen's children. And now that he's capable, they should be with him. The judge asked to speak to the kids. Lily, Mason, and Emma were interviewed separately. I waited outside the chambers. Heart pounding. Hands shaking. What were they saying? Were they scared? Did they understand what was happening? When they came out, all three had been crying. The judge took a break. Reviewed her notes. Came back an hour later with her decision. This is a difficult case. Miss Chen has clearly provided exceptional care for these children during a tragic period. Her devotion is commendable and rare. My heart lifted. Maybe she understood. However, Mr. Chen is the biological and legal parent. He has demonstrated significant personal growth and stability. He has the financial means to provide for his children. And most importantly, he has parental rights that cannot be superseded without evidence of unfitness. My heart sank. Mr. Chen's prior addiction and absence are concerning, but his current sobriety and employment demonstrate fitness. People can change. People can recover. And when they do, they deserve the opportunity to parent their children. No. Therefore, I am awarding primary custody to Mr. David Chen. Miss Rachel Chen will have visitation rights. Every other weekend. Alternating holidays. This will allow the children to maintain their relationship with their aunt, while re-establishing their relationship with their father. The gavel came down. I couldn't breathe. Couldn't process what had just happened. 8 years. 8 years of everything. And it meant nothing in the eyes of the law. David stood up. Shook his lawyer's hand. Looked at me. I'm sorry it had to be this way, Rachel. But they're my kids. I couldn't even respond. Couldn't speak. The kids were crying. Lily was screaming. This isn't fair. She's my mom. Mason was silent, tears streaming down his face, looking at me with such betrayal. Like I'd failed him. Emma was clinging to me. Don't let them take me, Mama Rachel. Please. I had to pry her arms from around my neck. Had to hand her over to a father she barely remembered. It was the worst moment of my life. David moved them to San Francisco 3 weeks later. I helped them pack. Tried to be strong. Tried not to cry in front of them. This isn't forever, I promised. You'll visit me every other weekend. We'll talk on the phone every day. I'm not going anywhere. Lily hugged me so tight I couldn't breathe. I hate him. I hate that he can just come back and take us. I know, baby. I know. But he's your dad. And he loves you. He's been lost for a long time. The day they left was the worst day of my life. Worse than when I took them in. Worse than any of the hard years. Because this time I was losing them. My apartment felt empty. Their rooms were bare. No toys. No clothes. No signs they'd ever been there. Just me. Alone. David promised I could visit. Every other weekend, just like the court said. But then things changed. He called me 2 weeks after they moved. Rachel, the kids are struggling with the transition. Their therapist thinks it's because they're too attached to you. They need space to bond with me. What are you saying? I'm saying maybe we should reduce visits for a while. Give them time to adjust. David, the court ordered every other weekend. The court also said what's best for the kids. And right now, what's best is focusing on our relationship. They need to see me as their parent. Not you. I've been their parent for 8 years. No, Rachel. You've been their caregiver. There's a difference. I'm their parent. Their father. And they need to understand that. He stopped taking my calls. Blocked my number from the kids' phones. When I showed up for my court-ordered visitation, he refused to answer the door. I called the police. They said it was a civil matter. I needed to go through the courts. I tried. Filed a motion for enforcement of visitation. But David's lawyers argued the kids didn't want to see me, that forcing visitation would harm them emotionally. The judge ordered a review, interviews with the kids. The kids told the therapist they loved me, missed me, wanted to see me. But David was coaching them. I could tell from the reports. It's hard to be loyal to both Dad and Aunt Rachel. Dad gets sad when we talk about her. Dad says Aunt Rachel was just helping out temporarily, that our real family is here now. Dad says we need to move forward, not look back. The therapist recommended gradual reintegration of contact, supervised phone calls to start. But David never scheduled them. Months passed. I sent letters, gifts for birthdays, care packages. David returned them unopened. I sent emails. He blocked my address. I tried reaching out through Jennifer's parents. He told them to stay out of it. It's been 14 months now since the kids left. I haven't seen them, haven't heard their voices. Lily is 15 now. Mason is 13. Emma is 11. I don't know what they look like, how they're doing in school, if they still play soccer, if they still build things, if they still remember me. David posts on social media photos of them, smiling at their new school, at his company's family events, at Disneyland. Happy family, perfect life. Like I never existed. Like those 8 years never happened. I went through a dark period after they left, really dark. The first week I couldn't get out of bed, called in sick to work, lay in their empty rooms, stared at the walls they decorated with stickers. Their beds were gone, moved to San Francisco, but I could still see the impressions in the carpet where the furniture had been. Lily's closet still smelled like her strawberry shampoo. Mason's bookshelf was empty, but I found a Lego piece under the radiator, held it in my hand and cried for an hour. Emma's toy bin was gone, but she'd left a drawing on the wall, a stick figure family, me, Lily, Mason, and Mama Rachel, the four of us holding hands. I couldn't bring myself to paint over it. Stopped eating. Food tasted like nothing. My stomach was a constant knot. Lost 15 pounds in 3 weeks. My clothes hung off me. Friends checked in. Rachel, you need to eat. You need to take care of yourself. But why? What was the point? The only thing I'd cared about was gone. My boss called after I missed a week of work. Rachel, we're worried about you. Do you need to take a leave of absence? I don't know. Maybe. Take the time you need. Your job will be here. I took a month off, spent it in a fog. Slept 16 hours a day. Couldn't stand to be awake. Awake meant feeling the emptiness. My friend staged an intervention of sorts. Showed up at my apartment. Rachel, we're taking you to see someone. A therapist. You can't go on like this. I didn't have the energy to argue. The therapist was kind, patient. Let me cry for the entire first session. You're grieving, she said. This is a profound loss. You lost your children. That's how you see it. And that's valid. But they're not dead. They're just gone. Sometimes that's harder, because you know they're out there, living their lives, without you. She helped me understand that grief isn't linear, that some days would be okay, some days would be terrible. That I needed to find a way to live with the loss, not get over it, just live with it. Slowly I started functioning again. Went back to work, threw myself into helping other kids, other families. If I couldn't help Lily, Mason, and Emma, maybe I could help someone else. Started eating again, not because food tasted good, but because I needed fuel to function. Started running, miles and miles, until my legs burned and my lungs screamed, until I was too exhausted to think. Started going to a support group, for people who'd lost custody of kids they'd raised. There were more of us than I'd realized. Grandparents who'd raised grandkids, only to have their kids come back and take them. Foster parents who'd had kids for years, only to have them return to biological parents who'd barely changed. Step-parents who'd raised their partner's kids, only to lose access after a divorce. We all shared the same pain, the same invisible loss that the world didn't quite understand. They're not dead, so why are you still grieving? They weren't really your kids anyway. At least you had them for a while. People meant well, but they didn't get it. I'd been a mother for 8 years, and now I wasn't. That loss doesn't just disappear. Every soccer game I pass, I think of Lily. Every Lego set in a store window reminds me of Mason. Every little girl I see makes me think of Emma. I wonder if they think about me, if they remember our life together, if they hate me for not fighting harder. I wonder if David tells them the truth, that I raised them when he couldn't, that I love them like my own. Or if he's rewritten history, made me the villain, the aunt who tried to steal them away. I'll probably never know. People ask me if I regret it, taking them in, raising them, sacrificing 8 years of my life. I don't. Those 8 years were hard, exhausting, financially devastating. But they were also the best years of my life. I got to be a mother to 3 incredible kids who needed me. I got to watch them grow, learn, heal from their trauma, become whole again. I gave them stability when their world fell apart. And no one can take that away. Not David, not the courts, not time. Those 8 years happened. They were real. And I have to believe that somewhere deep down those kids remember. They remember Mama Rachel, the person who was there, who chose them every single day. Even if they never see me again, I have to believe that mattered. But I won't lie. It hurts. It hurts every single day. I raised them from babies into young teenagers, and now they're strangers. I don't know their favorite songs anymore, their favorite foods, their friends' names, their dreams. I'm not part of their lives. And David acts like that's justice, like he's righting a wrong. He got sober, got a job, got his life together. And he thinks that erases 8 years of absence. He thinks money and biology are enough. But what about consistency? What about showing up? What about being there in the hard moments, not just the Instagram perfect ones? I was there, for 8 years, through everything. And he erased me like I was nothing. The legal system failed me, failed the kids. Because biology trumped everything, trumped years of care, trumped love, trumped sacrifice. David had rights, I had none. And now 3 kids who called me mama are being told to forget me, to move on, to accept that their father is their only parent. I hope they're happy, I genuinely do. I hope David is a good father. I hope he's present. I hope he's sober. I hope they don't suffer because of this. But I also know the truth. You can't abandon your children for 8 years and then pretend those years didn't happen. You can't erase the person who raised them just because it's convenient. You can't rewrite history to make yourself the hero. Those kids lost their mother when Jennifer died. Then they lost their father when David spiraled. Then they found safety with me, for 8 years. And now David is making them lose me too. That's 3 major losses before they're even adults. How is that in their best interest? But I don't get a say. I never did. I was just the temporary help, the placeholder, the convenient solution. Until David was ready to step back in and play dad. And now I'm supposed to disappear gracefully. Accept my role as the forgotten aunt. But I can't. I won't forget them, won't stop trying to reach them. When they turn 18, they can make their own choices. Lily in 3 years, Mason in 5, Emma in 7. Maybe then they'll want to see me, want to know the truth about those 8 years. Want to understand why I vanished from their lives. And I'll be here, waiting. Because that's what mothers do. We don't give up. We don't stop loving. We don't disappear. Even when the world tells us we're not real mothers, not legal mothers, not enough. I raised those kids. I was their mother. And nothing David does can change that. Not his money, not his lawyers, not his Instagram posts. Those 8 years happened. That love was real. And someday those kids will know the truth. They'll know that I fought for them, that I loved them, that I never stopped. Even when their father tried to erase me from their story. I'm rebuilding my life now, slowly, carefully. But there's a hole that can't be filled. 3 kid-shaped holes. Lily, Mason, and Emma. The children I raised. The children I lost. The family that was taken from me because I had the audacity to love them when no one else could. I don't regret loving them. But I'll never forgive David for making me lose them. He got his second chance, his redemption story. And I paid the price. Have you ever raised children that weren't biologically yours? Have you ever been erased from kids' lives after years of being their parent? Have you ever sacrificed everything only to have it mean nothing legally? Share your story in the comments. Sometimes the people who raise children aren't the ones who get to keep them. And that's one of the cruelest truths of all. If you believe that 8 years of raising children should matter more than biology and money, hit that like button and subscribe. Because being a parent isn't about DNA. It's about showing up every single day. And when you show up for 8 years, that should mean something. #I raised his kids.